good words to me. And my name is Dr. Johnson Y, working as Associate Professor in Electrical and Electronics Department, Jurdumada College of Engineering, Trivandrum. Today we start with the potentiometer and its applications, a part of Module 5 of Measurements and Instrumentation, Electrical Department, under KTU. So, most of you know about the potentiometer and its applications by a little bit, because we have studied this topic in the +2 level onwards. But in detail, we will study and discuss today. The potentiometer is actually a device, an instrument, which is designed to measure the unknown voltage by comparing it with a known voltage. That is, a known voltage is there, a known voltage, and an unknown voltage is also before us. So how to find the value of unknown voltage? That can be obtained or that can be measured by comparing that value with the known voltage. By that method, we can find out the unknown voltage. And this potentiometer is a 3-terminal device which is used for measuring the potential difference by manually varying the resistances. In a potentiometer, we can see 3 terminals are there and 2 terminals are connected at both ends and 1 terminal is connected in between. That is a variable one. By varying that middle terminal, we can vary the total resistance in between, or the output resistance can be varied. So I told earlier that there is a known voltage available. And that known voltage can be a cell or any other known reference supply source. Here we use the comparative method. Comparative method, as we know, is actually a comparison between the known voltage and the unknown voltage. And this method is more accurate than the deflection method. In the deflection method, we see the deflection of the pointer in the instrument. But here, there is no such thing. Only the comparison between a known and unknown voltage is happened. And this instrument is mainly used in places where high accuracy is required. And one advantage is that there is no current flow from the source under test in the balanced condition. I told earlier that there is a balance between known and unknown voltage. At that time, if suppose a galvanometer is placed in between the known and unknown voltage, the current flow through the galvanometer is 0 or null. So here such power consumption can be reduced. And this potentiometer is mainly used in the electronic circuit, especially for controlling the volume. For example, in an amplifier, you can see we can change the volume by turning this potentiometer. Actually, we see a knob in front of the amplifier, and that knob is actually corresponding to a potentiometer. And what we change the knob is what we change the middle terminal of that potentiometer. So we can discuss in detail by seeing some figures. That will be more better. Actually, this is the basic principle of a potentiometer. And here we can see two voltage sources are there. One is on the top. This is the top voltage source. This can be a known or unknown voltage. Suppose we take it as a known voltage. And at the bottom we can see another voltage source that is also an unknown voltage source. And if these two are equal, in this figure it is seen that both these two voltage sources are equal. And if both are equal, then what we see or what happens, the current flow between the galvanometer then becomes 0, or the galvanometer comes to a standstill. There is no deflection, there is no current flow. That means this is the balance condition. And at that balance condition, we can say that unknown voltage is equal to the known voltage. That is the method. Clear? And then we move to the construction of a potentiometer. In the construction of a potentiometer slide, we can see this is a picture in which there is a middle core or resistive core is here, and there are two terminals on each edge, and these two terminals are connected to the input source EA, and there is a resistive wire is placed on the top or around that core, that is in the red color, and there is a wiper is moved on the top of that resistive wire. That wiper is connected to the shaft, and when the wiper moves around or above this resistive wire, the output which is taken from this this wiper and one of the terminal, that is E0 here, this E0 will vary. Why it varies? It varies due to the change in this wiper position. Accordingly, the voltage drop will also vary. So that is the principle or the construction of a potentiometer. This is construction method. And here we can see there is a sliding and non-sliding parts. The sliding part is the wiper and the non-sliding part is other than wiper. And this motion, it can be either translatory or rotational. Here it is seen as a translatory motion, but it can be rotational motion also. For example, in heliports are nothing but the ports having a helix-shaped resistor. In that heliport, we can see both translatory as well as rotational motion. So different types of sliding contacts are available there. So we went through the basic principle as well as the construction. Then we go to the working of a potentiometer. In this working of potentiometer slide, you can see a battery which is placed on the top of the circuit. And here is a negative and a positive connection. This negative connection is connected.
Hello? Sir, it's not visible, sir, the slide. Yes, sir, it's coming. Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So the slight lag is there. No problem. And this battery is connected across a slide wire that is shown here in blue color. That battery is connected to the slide wire through a rheostat. Here a rheostat is connected to vary the current according to a desired value. The current through this battery is called the working current. So the working current will be like this through the circuit. So this is the working current circuit. And here in the bottom of this figure, we can see there is a standard cell at the bottommost portion, and there is an unknown EMF just above that. Also, a switch is placed here, which has two portions or two positions. One is to calibrate it, and another is to operate it. First, we calibrate. S is placed in the calibrate position, and then we move it to the operate position. And there is a galvanometer G is placed in between the switch and a key. This key or a jockey, it can be placed or touched anywhere in this sliding wire. So we slide along this wire with the help of this jockey or key. And in the switch position, we see calibrate and operate. The calibrate means it's used for calibration purpose or standardization purpose. What is calibration or what is standardization? Calibration means it's the process of equalizing the working voltage as that of voltage drop. is known as the calibration or standardization. ഒന്നുകൂടെ മലയാളത്തിൽ എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യുവാണെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പം നമുക്ക് ഇവിടെ നോൺ ആയിട്ടുള്ള സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് വോൾട്ടേജ് ഉണ്ട്. ഈ നോൺ വോൾട്ടേജിനെ ഒരു സ്ലൈഡ് വയറിലുള്ള ഒരു വോൾട്ടേജ് ഡ്രോപ്പുമായിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ഈക്വലൈസ് ചെയ്യും. സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് സെല്ലിന്റെ വാല്യൂ ഇപ്പോൾ ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഒരു 1 വാല്യൂ ആണ്. അത്രയും വാല്യൂ ഇവിടെ നമ്മൾ ഈ കീയുടെ മൂവ്മെന്റ് വരുന്നതനുസരിച്ച് എവിടെയാണോ ആ കീയുടെ പൊസിഷൻ നിൽക്കുന്നത്, at that time the standard cell voltage and this voltage drop are equal, or when it becomes equal we stop the movement of this key. ഈ കീയുടെ ഇതുവഴിയുള്ള മൂവ്മെന്റ് എപ്പോഴാണോ ഈക്വൽ വാല്യൂ എത്തുന്നത് അവിടെ വെച്ച് നമ്മൾ സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ചെയ്യും. അപ്പൊ എന്ത് സംഭവിക്കുന്നു? വാട്ട് ഹാപ്പൻസ് there? Then the current through this galvanometer is 0, because the one end of this galvanometer is connected to this key and thereby it connects to the slide wire, and the other end of this galvanometer is connected to the standard cell, and the other ends of both standard cell and the battery are connected to a common point here. So normally the standard cell is of value 1.0186 volt, and first we take this switch in this calibrate position and we move the jockey from here. At that time the voltage drop here 0, and from here onwards the voltage drop increases, and when it reaches to a particular value, at that time, if suppose at that time both voltages are equal, then we stop the position of the movement or the movement of the key. Then it is said to be in a balanced condition. That is the standardization process. And we change the rheostat here, that is the variable resistance here, in such a way that we set the current through this battery in a desired value. For example, 10 milliampere, we set the current through the circuit is at 10 milliampere. That is for calculation purpose. And another important thing is that suppose the slide wire has a length of 200 centimeters. Slide wire has a length of 200 centimeters, and the resistance of this slide wire is 200 ohms. That means 1 ohm per centimeter. 1 ohm per centimeter. That means if suppose this key is moving through the slide wire in the calibrate position, and when it reaches 100, that means the corresponding voltage drop across this up to this 100 position is equal to the current through this slide wire, the current through the slide wire, and the ohms resistance. From 0 to 100, we know the resistance is 100 ohms, because 1 ohm per centimeter, total 100 centimeters, then 100 ohms. Then current through this is already set, that is 10 milliampere. So 10 milliampere into 100 ohms, that equals 1 volt. That equals 1 volt. IR drop is 1 volt. Here the standard cell we set as 1.0186. 1.0186. That is the standard value normally used. 1.0186 volt. That much volt. And this key is moving from here in such a way that when it reaches 101.86 centimeter from this position, the position of this key at the time is 101.86 centimeter from this position. That means the voltage drop from here to here is 1.0186 volt. 101.86 സെന്റിമീറ്റർ നമ്മൾ ഇവിടെ നിന്ന് എടുക്കുമ്പം എവിടെയാണോ കിട്ടുന്നത് അവിടെയുള്ള വോൾട്ടേജിന്റെ വാല്യൂ 1.0186 volt ആയിരിക്കും. At that time, what happens? The current deflection is 0. That is, it is in a balanced condition. So we calibrate it. Then the next step is to find the unknown EMF. How to find the unknown EMF? The unknown EMF, in the second case, we shift the switch position to the operate side, and the unknown EMF is connected in the circuit. So at that time, the galvanometer one side is unknown EMF and the other side is the slide wire contact, and we move the slide wire from O as earlier, and when it reaches a particular value, then at that time, suppose the unknown EMF and the galvanometer current is 0. So then we come to a conclusion that the unknown EMF is the voltage drop across this slide wire across up to that point. So that is a method of working. So I think it is clear to the audience. So this is actually a basic slide wire potentiometer. And then we move to some earlier slides in the introductory part. It's actually the characteristics of this potentiometer. It's very accurate because it works on the comparing method rather than the reflection pointer method for determining the unknown voltage. That is because here a comparison method is used, and in the deflection pointer method, it involves a lot of power loss and more accuracy is low there as compared to the comparison method. So here is very accurate method, and here it measures the null or balance point, which does not require power for the measurement. So as I said earlier, current flow at that time is 0, so there is no need of power for the measurement at that time, and its working is free from the source resistance because no current flows through the potentiometer when it is balanced. That means at the null condition, the potentiometer reading is 0, so there is no effect of the source resistance at that time because current flow is 0. So I into R, whatever may be the source resistance, it has no effect on the voltage drop. So that is some characteristics of this potentiometer. And here the types, there are two types of potentiometer available. One is DC and the other one is AC. As the name implies, DC potentiometer works on DC, and AC potentiometer is used for the measurement on AC quantities. So next we have different types of potentiometer. Simple DC potentiometer, direct reading type, Crompton type, and modern form of slide wire. So here the Crompton potentiometer is very important, and it's a laboratory type instrument. Laboratory type instrument means it is normally used in the laboratories because it is a very compact instrument. It's very compact, and in the beginning we see an potentiometer with a very long slide wire, a linear long slide wire that is too long, and it is difficult to handle in a laboratory. So this is a compact one because here instead of a linear slide wire, here a circular slide wire is used. So it is very compact. That is why this type of potentiometer known as Crompton potentiometer is used in the laboratory. It is more accurate as well as very easy to adjust. And next we go to the working of a DC Crompton potentiometer. So in this potentiometer, as in the earlier case, the principle is same. So it is very easy to understand. Here the working battery, the same battery as above. And then a rheostat is connected there. Rheostat is connected here. That rheostat is used to vary the current through this battery or through this circuit. Here this is the working current circuit, and here the current is set to 10 milliampere using this rheostat. And in the earlier we can see there is a long slide wire potentiometer, but here instead of that long linear slide wire, here we use a circular dial switch. Dial switch is here. Here from 0 to 1.5, some numbers are marked on that. One is from 0 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, etc. up to 1.5. That is actually the voltage values. 0 means 0 volt, 0.1, 0.1 volt, etc. Here we can see 15 steps are there. 15 steps are there. So from 0 to 0.1 is one step, 0.1 to 0.2 another step. That way 15 steps. And one step corresponds to 10 ohms. One step corresponds to 10 ohms. So in total we can see there are total 150 ohms available because one step equals 10 ohms. So 15 steps equals 150 ohms. And okay. Then another circular slide wire is shown here. That is this thing. Here a value is 0.1 is marked here. It means this circular slide wire is useful for the measurement of up to 0.1 voltage only. Up to 0.1 voltage only. Here the resistance value is 10 ohms only. So in total we can see these dial switch and this circular slide wire both are in series. So total resistance is 150 ohms plus 10 ohms, that is 160 ohms. So total 160 ohms. And here we use this circular slide wire as a separate one because here we have 200 divisions available. 200 divisions are available here. So it's very accurate, it's useful for accurate measurement. Okay, then that slide wire part is over. Then, as in the earlier case, we have a standard cell connected here. That standard cell and an unknown EMF both are available here. There is a switch which have two positions, dual positions. One position is towards standard cell and another position it can be changed to the unknown EMF position. So when it is connected to the standard cell, at that time it is called a calibration process, and when the switch is change over to the unknown EMF, then it is called operate position, or it is in operation. So in the beginning, as in the earlier case, we connect in the calibrate position. Suppose if it is in the 1.0186 volt, then to get 1.0186 volt, what we will use? We use this settings, setting to a particular value, so that 1 volt will get, and then 0.0186 volt is the remaining voltage here. That voltage is set by using the circular slide wire. So using these two switches, we can set the total 1.0186 volt voltage drop across here, so that it equalizes with this standard cell, thereby the galvanometer reading is 0. That is the calibration process. And here another thing is a key is connected here, and a shorting key, a protective resistance. These three are connected here. The shorting key and protective resistance are connected because in the beginning there may be a chance of high current flow. So at that time we will use this protective resistance in the circuit. And when the current increases or it is in the working condition, then this is replaced by this shorting key, so that it is mainly in the final touching time. So it can be replaced with this shorting. So the process or the principle is same. Here only the change is that instead of linear scale, here a circular scale is used, a dial switch is used. We can vary the dial by one by one. For example, this dial switch is set to one position, then it becomes 0.1. Another position it becomes 0.2, like that. So that is the laboratory type potentiometer instrument. It is clear to you. I hope that it is clear to you. Then this is a multiple range potentiometer. Multiple range potentiometer is same as the Crompton type potentiometer, but only difference is that here we have two positions in this switch here, A and B. First, when it is connected to this one position, it is connected to one position, then what we see, here the current flow is divided from here. Current flow is divided from this point. Current is flowing from here and up to from this point. What happens? Current is flowing through this circuit, and another current is flowing through this circuit. So that there is a parallel paths. One is from R to R1 in that way. Another is through the dial switch and the slide wire. So this is a parallel combination of resistance, so that the current flow can be varied. Current flow or the voltage drop can be varied. The range can be extended. And when the switch is connected to position B, that is in this 0.1 position, then what happens? From here, the current is again divided into two. One is through this position and the other is through this way. Here the current is passing through R2, then the main dial and the slide wire. Suppose if the current is passing through this way and it reaches this 1.5 value, then this current flow is from 1.5, 1.4, 1.3. At this point 1.3, and from that the current is moving from that point to the this way. It will move this way, and if it is in the calibrate position, then calibration will happen. And after the calibration is over, through this galvanometer and key, it again comes to this point, the slide wire point, and again the current flow resumes here through this way and it will complete. In the second case, in the same time, the current will also flow through this resistor also. So the current division is happened. So there is a range extension. So multiple range potentiometer is there. So this actually the position. The right figure shows the position of the potentiometer when the switch is in position 1. At that time, the current division or the resistance combination is like that. This main dial and slide wire together known as the measuring circuit resistance Rm, and here R2, here R1. So this is the that equivalent circuit at that particular time when the switch is in position 1. Okay. Then this is actually.
Excuse me, sir.
Hello.
Sir, there is one question, sir. Can I?
Yes.
Q&A time. That's fine, sir. Sir, in DC Crompton's potentiometer, the previous slide you have shown.
Okay.
There is a circular slide wire resistance of 10 ohm, right? And please, they are asking to elaborate the usage of that.
Circular
slide wire.
Okay. The slide wire. This 10K.
Yeah.
Protective resistance. Okay.
Yeah, yes.
That's actually used for the protection purpose, because in the beginning, this galvanometer is very sensitive. Suppose in the beginning, if the current if the current inflow is very high, suppose, then the galvanometer will get some damage. So that is why if it is shorted at that time, it will get damaged. So we use the protective resistance at that time. Then the working battery is there. The current flows through the circuit, and then it seems that the current is very small because the working battery is only very low value. So at that time, what happens? We will short this key so that we assume that the current flow is not much high. It is actually only for the protective purpose. In the beginning, there may be a chance of high current inflow that will damage the galvanometer. So for avoiding that thing, we use the shorting key and protective resistance mechanism.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Please continue.
Okay, we'll continue. And this is actually an analysis of the earlier circuit. Here I told earlier that here there are two parts. One is through R1 and R2, and another circuit is through Rm. That is, this RM consists of the dial switch and the slide wire. R1, R2 are the two earlier resistances that we shown there earlier. Suppose we just go to the previous slide, then we can see that. R1 and suppose if it is in the position 1, then we can see R2 and R1 are in one path, and a slide wire and this dial switch are in another path. So that figure is shown separately in this circuit, in this figure. So here we can see the IT. IT means the total current from this battery. IT is total current from this battery. And what is the equivalent resistance of this circuit? The equivalent resistance of this circuit is, since it is parallel, so Rm into the sum of R1 plus R2. So Rm into this sum divided by these total three resistances. That is the parallel equivalent circuit resistance. So that is shown here, Rm into R1 plus R2 divided by R1 plus R2 plus Rm. It is a total equivalent resistance of this circuit. And in the next thing, we can say actually the figure is not much clear. It's only half portion here. What is happening there is only R1 in one part and Rm and R2 in the other part. In the next switch position, we can see R1 in one part and R2 and Rm in the other part. Actually, the figure is only half cut, so that is why it's difficult to understand. Anyway, the equation is like this. The main thing, we can compare with each other, or we can equate with each other, because the current from the battery in both cases are same. There is only one source current from either which is in this way, or if it is in the second switch position at that time also, in any way current is same. Current from the source is same. So we can equate the two equivalent resistances. So when we equalize and compare and analyze these equations, derive it, then we can conclude that R1 is equal to R. R1 is equal to R. So R1 and Rm are equal. So this is actually a design problem, how to calculate the value of R1 or how to calculate the value of R. Such things we can get from this design analysis. So from here we can see R1 is equal to R. Then next, also in the similar way, we analyze it, and then again we conclude that R2 is equal to 9 R. That is actually a long process. Due to the time constraint, I limit this. So R2 is equal to 9 Rm and Rm is equal to R1. In that way, we can use these resistance values for design purpose. Okay. Then we go to the Vernier type potentiometer. This is actually one of the major DC potentiometer type normally used in the high precision and accuracy level measurements. It has two ranges. One is for the normal range of 1.6 volt down to 10 microvolt, and a lower range of 0.16 volt down to 1 microvolt. So two normal ranges, two ranges are available. If it can be used in lower range as well as in the normal range. The principle is same. The earlier principle, both principles are same, but the construction is somewhat different, so we get some confusions. And പെട്ടെന്ന് എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യാം. വർക്കിംഗ് ബാറ്ററി ഉണ്ട്, റിയോസ്റ്റാറ്റ് ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ വർക്കിംഗ് ബാറ്ററി റിയോസ്റ്റാറ്റ് വെച്ചിട്ട് നമുക്ക് കറണ്ട് ഇവിടെ സെറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. ആദ്യം ഈ സ്വിച്ചിന്റെ പൊസിഷൻ K1 വന്നു. K1 വന്നതിന് ശേഷം എന്താണ് ഇവിടെ എത്തിയിട്ട് കറണ്ട് രണ്ട് പാത്ത് വരുന്നു. ഒന്ന് ഇങ്ങോട്ടും ഉണ്ട്, ഒന്ന് ഇങ്ങോട്ട് R2 R3 ചേർന്ന കോമ്പിനേഷൻ, നേരത്തെ പോലെ തന്നെ. അതുപോലെ ഈ എസ് ഇങ്ങോട്ടേക്ക് മാറ്റുമ്പോൾ, ഈ സ്വിച്ച് പൊസിഷൻ ഇങ്ങോട്ടേക്ക് മാറ്റുമ്പോൾ വീണ്ടും കറണ്ട് ഡിവിഷൻ മാറും. പിന്നെ സ്ലൈഡ് വയർ ഇവിടെ സ്ലൈറ്റ്ലി ഡിഫറെന്റ് ആണ്. സ്ലൈഡ് വയർ ആണെങ്കിൽ ഇവിടെ 3 സ്ലൈഡ് വയർ കാണിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഡയൽ 1, ഡയൽ 2 ആൻഡ് ഡയൽ 3. ഈ 3 ഡയൽസ് എന്തിനാണ് കാണിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നതെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇതിന്റെ ആക്യുറസി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇതിന്റെ പ്രിസിഷൻ കുറച്ചുകൂടെ ആക്യുറേറ്റ് ആക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് ഇത് ചെയ്തേക്കുന്നത്. നമുക്കിവിടെ ഫസ്റ്റ് ഡയൽ കാണിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. ആ ഫസ്റ്റ് ഡയലിൽ തന്നെ 2 പോയിന്റ്സ് എടുത്തിട്ട് അതിലേക്ക് സെക്കൻഡ് ഡയൽ കണക്ട് ചെയ്തേക്കുവാണ്. അപ്പൊ സെക്കൻഡ് ഡയലിന്റെ വീണ്ടും അതിന്റെ ആ പ്രിസിഷൻസ് കൂടുവാണ്. ഇൻറ്റു 0.001 പ്രിസിഷൻ കൂടുവാണ്. വീണ്ടും അതിൽ തന്നെ വീണ്ടും മറ്റൊരു സൈഡ് വയർ കണക്ട് ചെയ്തേക്കുവാണ്. thereby the precision can be increased more. So due to time constraint also I did not discuss in detail. And here EMF we can measure by we can use the EMF to be measured, we can connect here. So that is the Vernier potentiometer. നമ്മൾ ഒരു എക്സാമിനെ സംബന്ധിച്ച് നമുക്ക് ഒരു പൊട്ടൻഷ്യോമീറ്റർ പഠിച്ചാൽ മതി. സ്പെസിഫിക് ആയിട്ട് ചോദിക്കാൻ വഴിയില്ല. സ്പെസിഫിക് ആയിട്ട് ചോദിക്കുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അത് ക്രോംപ്ടനെ ചോദിക്കൂ. വെർനിയർ നമ്മൾ അത്രയും ഡീപ്പായിട്ട് പഠിക്കേണ്ട ആവശ്യമില്ല. പിന്നീട് ഉള്ളത് സിംഗിൾ റേഞ്ച് പൊട്ടൻഷ്യോമീറ്റർ യൂസിങ് ഇൻഡിപെൻഡന്റ് കാലിബ്രേഷൻ സർക്യൂട്ട്. ഇവിടെ ഒരു ചേഞ്ച് നമ്മൾ കാണുന്നത് കാലിബ്രേഷൻ സർക്യൂട്ട് ഇൻഡിപെൻഡന്റ് ആണ്. കാലിബ്രേഷൻ സർക്യൂട്ട് ഇൻഡിപെൻഡന്റ് ആണ്. അതാണ് കാണുന്നത്. കാലിബ്രേഷൻ സർക്യൂട്ട് അത് സെപ്പറേറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് അത് മാത്രമായിട്ട് ഇവിടെ സെറ്റ് ചെയ്തേക്കുവാണ് കാലിബ്രേഷൻ സർക്യൂട്ട്. പിന്നീട് ഓപ്പറേറ്റ്, അതായത് മെഷർമെന്റ് EMF മെഷർമെന്റിന്റെ സർക്യൂട്ട് സെപ്പറേറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് കാണിച്ചേക്കും. ഇതെന്ത് ഞാൻ സെപ്പറേറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് കാണിക്കുന്നതെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് കുറച്ചുകൂടെ ഈസി ആയിട്ട് നമുക്ക് ഇതിന്റെ പൊസിഷൻ സെറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. ഇപ്പൊ സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് സെല്ല് നമുക്ക് ഇത് മാത്രം, ഈ ഒരു ഡയൽ മാത്രം വേരി ചെയ്ത് നമുക്ക് ഫിക്സഡ് പൊസിഷനിൽ കൊണ്ടുവെക്കാം. എന്നിട്ട് അതിനുശേഷം നമുക്ക് ഓപ്പറേറ്റ് പൊസിഷനിൽ ഇത് നമുക്ക് അനുയോജ്യമായിട്ട് നമുക്കിത് വേരി ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. ഓൺലി ഫോർ ഇതാണ് നമുക്ക് ഇതിന്റെ ഒരു ഓപ്പറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ഒരു സൗകര്യം വെച്ചിട്ട് മാത്രമേ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഡിവിഷൻ കാണിക്കുന്നുള്ളൂ. ഒരു സെപ്പറേറ്റ് സർക്യൂട്ട്, കാലിബ്രേഷൻ ഒരു സെപ്പറേറ്റ് സർക്യൂട്ട് ഇവിടെ കണക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നു എന്നുള്ളതേ ഉള്ളൂ. പക്ഷെ എന്നാലും ഇതെല്ലാം തമ്മിൽ കണക്റ്റഡ് ആണ്, വേറെ ഇഷ്യൂസ് ഒന്നുമില്ല. സോ ദിസ് ഇസ് സിംഗിൾ റേഞ്ച് പൊട്ടൻഷ്യോമീറ്റർ യൂസിങ് ഇൻഡിപെൻഡന്റ് കാലിബ്രേഷൻ സർക്യൂട്ട്. ഇൻഡിപെൻഡന്റ് ആയിട്ട് നമുക്ക് കാലിബ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്യണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഈ ഒരു സർക്യൂട്ട് നമുക്ക് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാം. ഓക്കെ, then we go to the AC potentiometer. So far we have discussed the DC potentiometer, and the DC potentiometer is worked only on DC. There we measure only magnitude of the voltage, but here we measure both magnitude and phase, because AC quantities have both magnitude and phase. The comparison method or the principle both are same. And here some conditions we have to match. One is the frequency and waveform of the current must be same as that of the voltage being measured. Because frequency and waveform of the current and voltage must be same. If both are at different frequencies or of different waveforms, what happens? We can't compare. So the frequency should be same, but the phase difference may happen. Phase difference may happen, but frequency and waveform should be same. And another thing is non-inductive element is used for making slide wire and the resistance coil. In this AC potentiometer, the slide wire should be non-inductive. If there have some inductance, then what will happen? The phase difference or phase deviation will happen. In order to avoid that, the non-inductive element is used for making the sliding wire and resistance coil. And the external magnetic field will affect the whole readings, because there are a lot of stray magnetic fields around the measurements. And since this is AC quantities, the external magnetic field will have a strong impact on the measurement of AC quantities. That will have to be avoided by shielding or some other things. And the supply source should be sinusoidal as far as possible, because the perfect sinusoidal is normally we perform. From the AC supply, we see sinusoidal waves only. If it's having more harmonics, then it is difficult to achieve the balance, because in the harmonic condition, there are very difficulty in balancing the phase. So as far as possible, the harmonics has to be avoided. Okay, then this AC potentiometer is of two types. One is polar and the other one is coordinate type. Polar and coordinate type. So So both are very important. And first we discuss polar type potentiometer. The polar type potentiometer, here the magnitude is measured from one scale, and the phase angle is measured directly on from another or second scale. So two scales are available. From one scale we get the magnitude, and from the other scale we get the phase angle. So we reach the voltage or write the voltage in the form V angle theta. Here V is the magnitude and theta is the phase difference. Here V is the magnitude. This red wire, and the angle from V to the reference is angle theta here. So that is the phase angle. So V angle theta is its representation. Then we can discuss more about this polar type potentiometer. So here polar type potentiometer, there we can see an AC supply is here. This AC supply is this AC supply is connected with some stator windings. Two stator windings are shown here. Two stator windings. One stator winding is this one, and that stator winding is connected directly to the AC supply. And then another stator windings. This stator winding is in quadrature with the earlier stator winding. So both have a 90-degree phase difference. And how to achieve this 90-degree phase difference? This phase difference can be achieved by connecting a resistance, a variable resistance and a variable capacitance in series with that second stator winding. So R and C, if we vary the values of R and C, then the phase difference will happen. So we can vary accordingly in such a way that both are at quadrature from each other. So these are the laminated stator windings here. Both are connected to the AC supply. And then there is a rotor winding. It's a circular form. And it's laminated core. And suppose if the current flowing through these stator windings will produce a magnetic field around this stator winding, and the rotor winding or rotor core is placed in that magnetic field. So at that time, a uniform voltage will be developed, an EMF will be developed in this rotor windings. So EMF will be developed in the rotor windings, and it will be, since there have some phase difference, the rotor will move, and the movement of this rotor will be proportional to the phase angle. And if it is moved from some angle theta, that means it have that much phase difference is there. And this phase splitting transformer, this total combination is called a phase splitting transformer. This phase splitting transformer is connected to the potentiometer. This to connected to the potentiometer, because the potentiometer is used for calibrating as well as the unknown voltage measurement by knowing the voltage or voltage drop in the potentiometer. That is not shown in this figure. By setting the voltage drop in the potentiometer, we can find out the AC supply to be measured. That we can use by comparison. And here some mathematical equations are important. Here E1 is the voltage developed or voltage induced in the stator winding 1, this one. Here E1 is equal to K into I sin omega t cos phi. Phi is the phase angle difference. Phi is the angle between voltage and current. And E1, induced EMF E1 is equal to K, a constant K into I sin omega t cos phi. And E2 is the induced EMF here, that is equal to Ki sin omega t plus 90 cos phi plus 90, because here it is in quadrature with each other, so 90-degree phase difference. Then using trigonometrical calculations, we can see that is equal to minus ki cos omega t sin phi. So adding these two together, E1 and E2, then E is equal to E1 plus E2. So we add together, then we get this equation, sin omega t cos phi minus cos omega t sin phi. That is the short form of sin omega t minus phi. So E is equal to k sin omega t minus phi. That is the EMF, total EMF induced. So this is something about the polar type potentiometer. And then we move to the coordinate type potentiometer. Actually, the coordinate type potentiometer working is somewhat very complex, and I don't think it's difficult to. I think it's difficult to understand by using this online platform. Even then, I will just explain its major feature. Here, a galvanometer is placed here. This is a vibration galvanometer. Vibration galvanometer is normally used in AC measurements. In DC, we will not use vibration galvanometer. There, the arsenal type movement galvanometer is used. Here, vibration galvanometer is used in the AC type measurements, and here, in phase potentiometer and quadrature type potentiometer, both are in 90-degree phase difference here. So we give phase supply 1 and phase supply 2 here. Both are at 90-degree with each other, thereby setting the resistance and capacitance value in such a way that both have 90-degree phase difference. Supply phase 1 and supply phase 2. And first we use this in phase potentiometer. Here is connected to this vibration galvanometer, and this quadrature potentiometer. There is a inductor here. There is a small inductor. There is a coupling inductors, a small transformer having a mutual inductance Cm. And in the first beginning, what we see is that this vibration galvanometer is connected to this in phase potentiometer, and it is in series with the quadrature potentiometer, so that the phase values and magnitude are we make it same. That is the calibration, same as the calibration. So first we use the calibration using these three: in phase, quadrature, and this transformer. And then that part is over. That is difficult to explain in detail due to this time constraint. And then we move to the voltage to be measured. Here is connected here. Voltage to be measured is connected here, so that the when the key is lost, so that it is connected to the voltage to be measured. Then when it reaches the Vg, when it reaches 0, when it reaches 0 by setting the resistance values here, R and R dash, by changing the resistance value so that Vg becomes 0. Vibration galvanometer equals 0. Current is 0. At that time, we say that the EMF and the phase angle, both we can calculate. Voltage we can calculate using this in phase potentiometer, and phase angle is calculated using quadrature potentiometer arrangement. That this details about this potentiometer is more very clearly available, readable in the Shoney's book that you can refer. This is only just an introduction on that. And next we actually go to the applications of potentiometer. And shall we have time to continue? Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How much time available, sir?
Sir, 5 minutes, sir. After that, we'll be having the Q&A session, sir. No problem, sir. Just continue. We'll adjust, sir.
Okay. Sir. Then the next part is the application of potentiometer. I already said the applications first, and the major application is this calibration or standardization. Earlier said in detail, making balance of the known and unknown voltage. That is the calibration process. And here we can calibrate a voltmeter and an ammeter and a wattmeter. Using this process, using the help of potentiometer. How to calibrate a voltmeter? First, we need a stabilized DC supply. Stabilized DC supply is needed for that. And there is some resistance used for fine adjustment, and there is another resistance for coarse adjustment, so that the voltage available from this voltmeter is a constant, stable value. So that stable voltage is available here. And then, then we use a voltage ratio box. Voltage ratio box is used for reducing the voltage to a lower value, because high level voltages is difficult to calibrate. So we can reduce the voltage to a lower value by using this voltage ratio box. That is only for voltage ratio box use. And then we move to the potentiometer circuit. So this is for the potentiometer connection. And what happens here? Here we the potentiometer settings we will change for the slide wire resistance, that is not shown in the figure, is changed in such a way that this reduced voltage is equal to that value. This reduced voltage is equal to that value. Then we can compare both, and then we can see both voltages are equal. In that way, it is calibrated. And then in the similar way, we can calibrate the ammeter also. The ammeter here, a stabilized DC source, some coarse fine resistance arrangement is here, so that a constant current is moving through this ammeter. And there is a standard resistance here. Yes, standard resistance here. That resistance is connected to a potentiometer. And we know the current value of this ammeter by direct reading. We know this direct reading, and that we have to calibrate. How to calibrate it? We know the value of this standard resistance. Resistance in ohm, we know that. And the potentiometer is connected here in such a way that the total voltage developed across this will be made equal to the potentiometer, so that the voltage drop in this resistance we know. So Vs is the voltage drop and S is the standard resistance value. Both these values are available or known to us. In that way, using this equation, we find the current through the standard resistance. Current through the standard resistance. That current is same as the ammeter current. So first we measure the current from the ammeter, and then we calculate the current using this equation. And then we check both are equal. If both are equal, then we say that it is perfectly okay, it is calibrated well. It is a method of calibration. And one more thing remaining, with that I stop my session. There's some problems also, but time constraint is difficult.
No problem, sir. No problem, sir. You can continue. We'll be having 2-3 minutes more, sir. Please, sir.
Okay. It's actually a simple question. If you have notes or papers, pens with you, the audience, then you can use or mark these values, and then you can do the problem. I read this. A simple slide wire is used for the measurement of current in a circuit. The voltage drop across a standard resistor of 1 ohm is balanced at 75 centimeter. So we know the standard resistance value 0.1 ohm, and the balancing length 75 centimeter. That also we know. We have to find the magnitude of the current. if the standard cell EMF of 1.45 volt is balanced at 50 centimeter. So in this condition, what we will do, first we find the voltage drop per unit length. We know that the 1.45 volt is balanced at 50 centimeter. Then we have to find the voltage per centimeter. Voltage per centimeter. How to find 1.45 by 50? Then we get the per centimeter voltage or voltage drop per unit length. Then we find the voltage drop across this 75 centimeter. How to find it? Voltage drop per unit length already calculated. When multiplied with the 75 length, that will give the total voltage drop 2.175 during this total 75 centimeter. So voltage drop across 75 centimeter length we found out. Then our aim is to find the current. How to find the current? Current is measured by, we know the current is actually voltage by resistance. Voltage 2.175 corresponding to 75 centimeter, voltage is 2.175 volts. Okay, then at that time the corresponding resistance is 0.1 ohm standard resistance. If we divide or giving the ratio, that will give the current 21.75. That is a simple mathematical problem. Okay, then if you practice it more later, then it's easily understandable, no problem. Then the other application, that is calibration of wattmeter. We earlier noted or studied the ammeter and voltmeter, both are studied. Actually, the wattmeter is a combination of voltmeter and ammeter. The calibration of voltmeter and ammeter are separately done, and then when it combines together, that will give the calibration of wattmeter. In the wattmeter calibration, we know that in wattmeter we know there is a current coil and voltage or pressure coil. In the current coil, we give a low voltage supply to this current coil. There is a regulating rheostat, and there is a standard resistor is here. We know the ammeter is connected here. The early
Hello, sir. Hello. 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 Am I audible?
നമ്മൾ നേരത്തെ അമ്മീറ്റർ കാലിബ്രേഷൻ പഠിച്ചു. ആ മെത്തേഡ് വോൾട്ടേജ് ഈ അമ്മീറ്ററിന് വേണ്ടിയുള്ള ആ പൊസിഷനിലേക്ക് മാറ്റിയപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ഇവിടുത്തെ കറണ്ട് സ്റ്റാൻഡർഡൈസേഷൻ കിട്ടി. അതുപോലെ വോൾട്ടേജിന്റെ സ്റ്റാൻഡർഡൈസേഷൻ കാലിബ്രേഷൻ ആയിട്ട് വോൾട്ട് റേഷ്യോ ബോക്സ് വെച്ചിട്ട് നമ്മളിവിടെ ഈ സ്വിച്ച് ഇങ്ങോട്ടേക്ക് സെറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് ഇത് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഇവിടുത്തെ വോൾട്ടേജ് കാലിബ്രേഷൻ കിട്ടി. അപ്പോൾ വോൾട്ടേജും കറണ്ടും കിട്ടിക്കഴിഞ്ഞു. ഈ രണ്ട് വാല്യൂ നമ്മൾ മൾട്ടിപ്ലൈ ചെയ്ത് കിട്ടുന്ന വാല്യൂ അത് ഈ ടോട്ടൽ വാട്ട് മീറ്റർ റീഡിങ്ങും ഈക്വൽ ആണോ എന്ന് നമ്മൾ ചെക്ക് ചെയ്താൽ മാത്രം. അപ്പൊ ഈ അമ്മീറ്റർ റീഡിങ് നമുക്ക് എവിടെ നിന്ന് കിട്ടി? നമുക്ക് ഈ പൊട്ടൻഷ്യോമീറ്ററിൽ അത് സെറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് അവിടുത്തെ ആ ഡ്രോപ്പ് വെച്ച് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കാം. വോൾട്ട് മീറ്റർ റീഡിങ്ങിന്റെ കറസ്പോണ്ടിങ് പൊട്ടൻഷ്യോമീറ്റർ ഡ്രോപ്പ് വെച്ച് അവിടുത്തെ റീഡിങ് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കാം. ആ രണ്ട് റീഡിങ്ങും ഇവിടെ കിട്ടുന്ന ഈ ബിയും ഐയും സെയിം ആണോ എന്ന് ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യുക. അതിന്റെ പ്രോഡക്റ്റ് ഉണ്ട് സെയിം ആണോ എന്ന് ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യുക. അങ്ങനെ വാട്ട് മീറ്റർ കാലിബ്രേഷൻ വി ക്യാൻ ഈസിലി. So that is about wattmeter calibration. And last point, resistance. How to measure the resistance? Resistance എങ്ങനെ മെഷർ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും? അതൊരു ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ ആണ്. We connect an unknown resistance and a standard resistance here. Both are in series. ആദ്യം സ്വിച്ചിന് രണ്ട് പൊസിഷൻ ഉണ്ട്. പൊട്ടൻഷ്യോമീറ്റർ 1.1 വെക്കുമ്പോൾ അൺനോൺ റെസിസ്റ്റൻസിലേക്കാണ് കണക്ഷൻ കിട്ടുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ അവിടെയുള്ള ടോട്ടൽ വോൾട്ടേജ് ഡ്രോപ്പ് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കാൻ പറ്റും. അതുപോലെ സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് റെസിസ്റ്റൻസിൽ കണക്ട് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഉള്ള ടോട്ടൽ വോൾട്ടേജ് ഡ്രോപ്പും കണ്ടുപിടിക്കാൻ പറ്റും പൊട്ടൻഷ്യോമീറ്റർ വെച്ച്. അപ്പോൾ വി ആർ ഇസ് ഈക്വൽ ടു ഐ ഇൻറ്റു ആർ. വോൾട്ടേജ് അക്രോസ് ദിസ് റെസിസ്റ്റൻസ് വി ആർ ഇസ് ഈക്വൽ ടു കറണ്ട് ഐ. പിന്നെ അതുപോലെ ഈ റെസിസ്റ്റൻസ് ആർ, ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് അൺനോൺ. ഇവിടുത്തെ ആർ അൺനോൺ ആണ്, വി ഡോണ്ട് നോ. ബാക്കി വി ആറും ഐയും അറിയാം. അതുപോലെ സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് റെസിസ്റ്റൻസിലേക്ക് മാറ്റുമ്പോൾ VS ആണ്, that is available from the potentiometer, and I corresponding current അത് ഇവിടെ അറിയാം. എസ് സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് റെസിസ്റ്റൻസിന്റെ വാല്യൂ അറിയാം. അപ്പോൾ രണ്ട് ഇക്വേഷൻസ് തമ്മിൽ ഡിവൈഡ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഇത് കിട്ടും. VR/VS is equal to IR/IS. I ക്യാൻസൽ ചെയ്ത് പോകും. VR/VS equals R/S. ഇതിൽ VR ഉം VS ഉം S ഉം അറിയാം. These three values are known. R is only unknown. That we can find out using this equation. So this is the last application, and there are 4 applications. In the 4 applications, 3 are for the calibration of voltmeter, ammeter, and wattmeter, and last one is the measurement of an unknown resistance. So these 4 things are the applications of a potentiometer, and in that portion we have done a problem also. Then in the earlier slide, just to മുമ്പോട്ട് വരുവാണെങ്കിൽ AC potentiometer, DC potentiometer, അതിന്റെ രണ്ടിന്റെയും different types of potentiometers ഓരോന്നിന്റെയും എക്സ്പ്ലനേഷൻ, ഡീറ്റെയിൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള എക്സ്പ്ലനേഷൻ എല്ലാം നമ്മൾ ചെയ്തു കഴിയും. അപ്പം I think hope you understood well. If any doubts you can ask.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I think the details mentioned here was very well conveyed to the attendees. Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful session.
Okay.
And for the attendees, please note that there